Hi, everybody. We're going to...
There's lots of chairs in the garage. A lot of chairs in the garage. Okay, Mom, how about you sit?
I'll sit. How about Mom? Sit. Sit, Mom.
First of all, thank you all for being here. For anybody that I haven't met, I'm Rabbi Steve Cohen, and it's my honor to be sort of the MC. This is going to be pretty short. The talking part today is going to be quite short, with Sissy's request. And the basic lineup is, after I've finished my little welcome here, Sissy's granddaughter Brith is going to share with us something that she wrote about Colman, with Colman's help, when she was young. Which is a wonderful, actually, the best description I've ever heard of who Colman was and is. After Brith, we're going to hear from Tiffany, Sissy's daughter. Then Natalie Myerson is going to give us a word. And then Colman's son, Todd. And then I'm going to read a card that Colman wrote to Sissy, and that's it. So altogether, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes at the very most. So thank you all for being here to show your love and support for Sissy and Sissy and Colman and their families. And thank you all for also being respectful of the situation with the virus and the vaccines and masks. And it's important at a moment like this, if possible, to be able to come together, and to be able to come together in a way that's safe for all of us. So with that, Brith, tell us a little bit about Colman as you knew him when you were 7, is that right?
7, yeah. Hi, I'm Brith Howard. I'm Sissy's oldest granddaughter, and when I was 7 years old, my second grade teacher assigned my class a project to do a report on someone in your family you respected. I couldn't pick anyone blood related to me, so I decided to do Colman.
Oh!
So this project, we detailed everything about them, from their jobs to what they were doing right now and where they lived. So, Colman Daniel was born in San Francisco, California on March 15th, 1936. He had one brother and one sister. Colman was raised in San Francisco in his father's ice cream store. He lived above the store and started working there when he was 11 years old. He thought it was wonderful working in the ice cream store. He worked with the ice cream maker, and it was his job to clean up the pipes, so he got to eat the leftover ice cream. Colman had lots of hobbies. He liked to build miniature plastic race cars, go on the beach, hike with his buddies, and get dirty. Colman's favorite memory as a child was to go to Saturday Manatees with his sister. He left San Francisco when he got offered a job in Los Angeles to be a sales engineer. Colman is retired now. His job before he retired was doing sales and marketing in the semiconductor industry. In his job, he traveled a lot, held meetings, and hired people for his company. Colman liked traveling and meeting new people. He especially liked working with new customers. Once a year, Colman got to take his son Todd on a work conference family vacation with him. Todd worked in the industry for a while too. Colman lives in Santa Barbara with now my Nana, Sissy. He has one son, Todd, who is 48, who lives in Los Angeles, and one daughter, Tiffany, 46, who lives in Phoenix, Arizona. He has one biological granddaughter, Danielle. He now has 7 more grandkids with my Nana, my brother, my 5 cousins, and me. He likes to golf with his son and visit his granddaughter and daughter in Arizona. He likes to play and travel with me and cook, golf, and fish with my brother. Colman likes to cook, garden, and raise worms. Colman's favorite food is ice cream. His favorite color is blue. His favorite place is a golf course, and his favorite golf course is Rancho Park Golf Course in Los Angeles. His favorite TV show is Seinfeld. 2 of Colman's favorite things to do are walk on the beach and play card game gin. His worms live in a container of dirt outside. He cares for the worms by saving up edible scraps of food, like banana peels, apple cores, and fruit skins. He cuts them up really small and feeds them once a week. The worms love it. That's who Colman was, and he was the best grandfather I could have ever asked for.
Thank you, Blythe. Who's taking care of the worms now? Todd, where have you gone? Oh, Tiffany. Sorry. Yes.
I'm easily mistaken for Todd, right?
Sorry, I got confused. Tiffany.
Thank you. So for those of you that don't know me or recognize me, I am Sissy's oldest daughter. No, sorry. I gave the longest recorded bar mitzvah speech in history to my son, so I'm going to try to do a little better here. Okay, Mom, I'm going to make an effort, but it's very difficult when you're talking about and sharing your thoughts about one of my very favorite humans in the whole world. Colman was like a father to me. I'm not likely alone in those feelings, as he was an equally present force with my sisters and our families. I waited a lifetime to have the kind of relationship we had, and it doesn't escape me about how quickly and how eminently that happened. He was really a father to me. The man with those piercing blue eyes, thick white wavy hair, emanating ears, like I think we have to go there, right? Emanating ears. And that uber cool vibe brought instant magic into my mother's life and the lives of all of her children. Son-in-laws, grandchildren, all of us. Cousins, he really just magically appeared. I would be remiss, however, if I did not share with you guys how this all started, because Colman loved to tell this story. And so if you've heard it, I apologize. It was his favorite story to tell. But because I have a significant role in it, I know that he would want me to tell you how it all happened. My mom had just flown in from Israel. And my sister Nadine picked her up at the airport. We were meeting at the Skirball Center so we could transport her up the coast. So the three of us, Nadine, my mom, and my sister, go to the Skirball, and they have this lovely little lily pond there. And they have a coffee and tea cart outside the restaurant. So the three of us went up and we ordered tea, and just in my mother's fashion, she noticed that he had an unusual name. And she said, "Oh, Colman, is that Jewish?" And at which point he said yes, and I started to notice that he had on a very cool techno hip watch and like a great outfit. So the three, actually the two of them, Nadine and Sissy, they go and sit down after we order, and I'm standing up there to pay. And I asked him how much, and he said $3 and your mother's phone number, if that would be all right. And I had been on a grandpa hunt. I don't know how many of you know this, but that was my mission at that point in life. I was going to find a grandfather for my kids. So I said, well, absolutely, and I handed him a $5 bill, and he said, the chocolate chip cookies are $1 each, that would be $2, and I'll hand deliver them. So he kept my $5 bill, and he walked over and he abandoned his job at the Skirball. He left the coffee cart and came and sat with these three yappy women for the next 45 minutes. We had so much fun in this conversation, and by the end of it, as a gentleman would, he offered to come down to our cars and take the luggage and transport it into my car. Upon doing that, he asks my mother out on a date. Now, I'm sure none of you are familiar with Sissy or her personality, at which point she said, well, if you're going to take me to dinner, I don't live here. I'm in Santa Barbara, which means you're going to have to come up there. And I am rolling my eyes at this point. I'm like, oh no, we're getting her a date and she's already starting it. So he gives her the card. We get in the car. Not more than 3 minutes passes and he texts her. And my mother, at the time, in her own defense, 11 years ago, texting wasn't the main method of communication. She tends to text like a 14-year-old boy. It's like one word, very curt responses back then. So he texts her, she tells me what she's going to write back, and I'm like, oh no, this doesn't work. I grab the phone. Now remember, I have her for a little while, till the next morning, till she goes to Santa Barbara. So I keep her phone. And over the next 24 hours, Colman and I text. But he doesn't know that it's not my mother. I'm a little bit flirty, not inappropriate, however. But I'm going to make this happen. So by the time they had their first date, the fisherman was hook, line, and sinker in. I already knew that. So I felt a little guilty about all of this. And about 3 months into their relationship, I pulled him aside and I said, I have something to tell you. And in Colman uber cool fashion, he put his arm around me. He winked his eye and he said, don't you think I know? So thus began the love affair that the three of us had. And I couldn't have asked for anybody better in my life for my mother than Colman. I just can't. So with that said, there's a few other things I wanted to share with you. Colman taught us, I have to find this, Colman taught us what love is. And that's his legacy. And most of you that are here experienced that love in one way or another. He wrote beautiful handwritten notes. He wrote thank you notes. Not just to my mother, but to all of us, to the grandkids, to his, to people that did special things for him. He sent the sweetest, most thoughtful texts, and he had the best use of emojis. He was just that guy, right? I see people shaking their head. He sent these wonderful texts. He engaged with words of encouragement and adoration. He felt like everybody mattered, and he made you feel that way. Every one of our children, our grandchildren, have an independent relationship with him, and they each love him for something different, and it's such a gift. But the most important thing he did was he gave us time. And everybody here has probably sat with him and played a game, right? Or talked about pickleball or fishing. He showed up everywhere. He was at every recital. He was at every graduation. There wasn't a night that we didn't play Rummy Q. He got up every morning and he made paw cakes for everybody. He golfed with my son and I. He golfed with his son Todd all the time. He fished with Bernie, and we're not talking like in a trout farm. We're talking like on a boat in Alaska where there's no other adult and he's responsible for them. Salmon fishing and deep sea fishing. He really, really genuinely cared. He went out and picked this jacket out for me and bought this for my 50th birthday. Like, he did it. He gave us his time. And I think if we can take anything away from celebrating him today is to remember that that's our most precious commodity. And I think about that. And I think that no matter how long he lived, it would have never been enough. So thank you for being here today. This is his community. You're all here. And let's just continue to show up for each other. That's what he'd want. So with that being said, the way his life ended was as beautiful as it started with us. He went out at the Serenity House in the most beautiful surroundings. Not one of us didn't have an opportunity to say goodbye. My mom had those Shabbats here for anybody who wanted to be here. So what I'm feeling when people say to me, how are you doing? I feel two things, and I hope this resonates with you. I feel heartbreak and gratitude. And the reason I feel heartbreak isn't because anything was left unsaid, or there was anything left to do, or we didn't have time. I feel heartbreak because I had a relationship with him that most people never get to have. And therefore, the gratitude flows. And when you can find gratitude and heartbreak, then you can handle anything. So I wish you all heartbreak and gratitude in your lives. And thank you for being here and supporting us. This is love.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. That's really beautiful. Really beautiful. Speaking of handwritten notes, Natalie Myerson, the master of the handwritten note.
I asked for the privilege of speaking at this tribute, only not because he was such a special person in my life, in Sissy's life, in her daughter's lives, in the lives of all of us. We bonded when we met for a very interesting reason. We were both born practically the same day. Not the years. I beat him by many. But his birthday, March 15th, my birthday, in the early hours of the 16th, gave us a togetherness. And over the years he was here, we celebrated that birthday at Stella Murray, at various restaurants. We celebrated life together. A second bondage came with our love of chocolate. I've been a chocoholic for all of my 101 years. When we ate it together, whether it was his chocolate confections with pomegranates, or whether it was my choice of dark chocolate from C's Candies, we savored the sweetness and the flavor that chocolate candy represents. A third connection had to do with coffee ice cream. I adore the flavor of coffee. I found out that Colman was a devotee of coffee. He even did me the courtesy of coming from this home all the way to my home with a sample from Trader Joe's of his favorite coffee ice cream. And lastly, we shared a love of Sissy. Different as night and day. His love was romantic. My connection with Sissy and Colman was because of her lifestyle, her energy, her positive attitude, her upbeat. And both of us appreciated the positive vibes. And so, Colman, I say, it was wonderful to know you. I say farewell, adieu, adios. I think in Hebrew it's lehitrov.
Absolutely.
And please goodness, my path will cross Colman Daniels in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for continuing to inspire us, Natalie. Truly. Okay, here's somebody that knows Colman in a completely different way from all of us, his son Todd. First, I want to thank you.
They're there for you.
I want to thank you all for coming tonight, or today, and celebrating my dad's life. And I just wanted to give you a little insight of what he was like as a father. And, he was a wonderful provider. He was a very successful businessman, and he worked very hard. He worked his way up. He was a senior vice president of a major corporation. But he always found time to be there for us as kids. He was there to be an assistant coach on my Little League team. He was there to take us fishing, to do things around the house. He helped me learn how to use a screwdriver and hammer and fix the plumbing. And it was just a nice thing to him to pass along on how to actually work with my hands and fix things, because there's a lot of satisfaction with that as well. I mentioned fishing, and there's some pictures inside of him and I when I was about 4 or 5 years old. And that fishing had lasted our whole life. We've gone to Cabo many times fishing, and we had a bucket list trip to go to Alaska, and about 5 years ago we went and had an amazing time. So it was a great thing for us to do, and it was a wonderful week to spend with him alone and just talk about things and just remember what a great relationship we've always had. When I was about 12 years old, he decided he wanted to start golfing, and so we started playing, and from that point on, it became part of our livelihood. I played with him for the rest of my life, and for the longest time, we would play a couple days a week, and then all of a sudden he kept getting busier, and he wasn't available to golf as much. And I finally asked him what was going on. He says, well, I met somebody. And okay, and he told me about Sissy and how he's been going out with her and getting to know her, and how much he enjoyed his time with her. And it's funny, I was telling a lot of people inside, I used to see the pictures of him with doing the pancakes for all the grandkids and everything, and that's what he did for us. That's what he did for my niece. He would do the Mickey Mouse pancakes or the chocolate pancakes. So it was funny to see how many generations he actually was there to pass along. Then he told me he was going to move up here. And I thought that was great. And he told me the best part about moving up here, whole new audience of people to tell jokes to. He had a whole slew of people to now start telling all of his stories to, which he always loved to do. And who wrote that nice letter from Palm Springs? The lady?
Oh, yeah, Phyllis.
Just a wonderful email talking about all the stories and all the Yiddish accents and all the jokes. So, my father was very giving, a very caring and compassionate man. The definition, I guess, would be a mensch. And as a kid growing up, you always think you know better than your parents, and you always do things the right way. And I realized when I was out of college and started my career that I would probably have been so much farther ahead if I would have just listened to everything he told me, But I realized that even if I could be 25% of the man that he was, that I knew I would be a success. And he was just a great person, and he was a great father, a great grandfather, and he was my best friend. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Todd. And on behalf of all of us, Todd, I want to thank you for being here today, because I know that, you're meeting many of us for the very first time. This is not your community, and yet for us to see you and so much of your dad in you is very moving and wonderful to have you here. Thank you. So the last words are from Colman. This was a card that he wrote by hand to Sissy. It looks like it was a birthday card. Is that, Sissy, is it a birthday card? Whatever. It says your special day anyway. And it says, I love doing life with you. So Sissy asked me to read it, and really it's such an honor for me to read these words to you, Sissy, from Colman, and also from all of us. Dear loving Sissy girl, parentheses, woman, There are so many things about you, many of which I have told you, that it's difficult to come up with something original on your special day. I pinch myself often when I think about us, the couple, the pair, that fit together like pieces of your many puzzles, some of which have frayed edges. I think of our first meeting, how brave I was to ask Tiffany the question, which I heard a little more about today. The question which started this wonderful August to September love affair, which has made me the happiest guy in the room. Besides being so happy to be chosen by you, I wonder, why me? Why am I so blessed to be at your side, doing your bidding, which I love to do? Do I have a guardian angel who puts me in favorable situations? It's more than luck. It could be faith. Maybe I'm just a very lucky fella. Many milestones, almost being missed by a fast-moving bus, meeting an Air Force buddy steering me to finish college, calling a marketing solution which became my cash cow to this day, working at Skirball on that faithful day, never to be repeated another time. And there you were, changing my life so beautifully, like nothing I knew before. So, my love, I could hardly squeeze this onto the older card you presented to me. Those words were very precious to me also. But to the message, and then he has drawn an arrow to the "you make everything fun." You really do. And I so appreciate your love of life, of people, of family, of the world. Needless to say, I'm so in love with you. You're Colman, and a heart with a little arrow through it. And P.S., I'm not sure exactly what this meant. P.S., I had this card for a week. So as a closing blessing, I'll just mention the words that we often say at the end of a memorial. Zecher Tzadik Livracha. May the memory of this righteous man be a blessing for all of us. We will be blessed for having known Colman, his generosity, his humor, his love, for the rest of our lives. Thank you all for being here today. And thank you, Sissy. Yes?
The ice cream truck comes.
In 26 minutes, the ice cream truck comes. All right, I won't be leaving until that time. And Sissy, thank you for welcoming us all to your home today. Thank you all. That's it.